Hey guys, this is Miss Citran, and this video is about the directions for your science project for this week. So in the previous video, we have talked about animal environments and what they need in order to survive in their environment. So for this week, you are going to look at this page right here, and you notice that there's a chart at the top, and then there's something circled down below. What's circled down below is what you are actually going to be turning in to Miss Citran. So don't send me all the science pages that you've done this week. Only turn in your environment project. So this is my example of an environment project. I picked an animal, and this animal can be your research animal that you have done the past couple weeks from Ms. Denton. So it can be about penguins, snakes, red pandas, zebras, lions. No domestic animals, so don't say dog or kitty cat. Try some wild animals. And so my environment is about the bald eagle. And as you can see right here, I labeled the 4 parts that he needs or she needs in order to survive. So you see here, I've labeled, where does the eagle get his source of water? They get it from the pond. Where does the eagle get its food? From the fish in the pond. And then I also labeled the shelter of the bald eagle. My bald eagle lives in a nest. And then his air comes from living outside. So your animal has to be drawn in their natural environment. Notice how nice and clean I made my picture. It's not sloppy. It's very easy to read. And then at the very top, I wrote the name of my animal and the word environment, because you're going to show me the environment of your animal. And I'm going to show you some examples from other students in the past that have done this project. And maybe that'll help you get some tips and ideas. Okay, so this is your first example. This student last year, he did his about the polar bear environment. So as you can see, we use paper plates in the classroom, but you don't have to use a paper plate. But as you can see, he drew the polar bear, he drew the water source of the polar bear, the little squiggles like I did in my picture that can represent the air. He labeled that the shelter is snow because polar bears live in the snow. And then this polar bear's source of food is fish. So that's one example. Okay, here's the second example from a student. They did an amphibian environment. So amphibians can be frogs or lizards. So he chose the frog. So look how nice and he labeled that environment. He labeled the tree as the shelter, the pond as the water source, the flies or insects are his source of food, and the air is the little squiggle because he lives outside. Last example, this student chose an aardvark, and notice how he labeled everything nice and clean. The aardvark's shelter is in this little cave or den, he called it. The food source, grass. The aardvarks can eat ants too. And his water source is a watering hole, very creative. And then he drew the air. So just like Ms. Tran's example, notice how it's neat. And you have to label shelter, water, food, air. And don't copy mine because that's mine. You can be creative. You can pick your own animal and make sure you got shelter. Where does it live? Food. What does it eat? Where is the air? And then its water source. Does it get water from a pond, a river, the ocean, a puddle, a stream? You decide. I can't wait to see your science projects.